Mother-Daughter Disney podcast. My name is Amanda. I'm here with my very lovely mother.
Hi, I'm Janette.
And today we are going to rank the Epcot table service restaurants. So if you're currently listening to the podcast when you're cleaning or in the car, I am going to currently read off in alphabetical order all of the table service restaurants in Epcot so you have an idea of which ones we're going to be ranking. And then we will go through our rankings from the last to the first, which is how we usually do our rankings.
And let's just say, both, I think you were surprised too, but I was totally surprised. It was this many sit-down restaurants.
I called my mom and I asked her, how many table service restaurants do you think are in Epcot? And she said, maybe 10, 11. There are officially 21 table service restaurants in Epcot. Now, I will say one of them is closed. However, according to Disney, it's only temporarily closed. I like to think it probably is permanently closed.
They're not going to open that again.
Yeah, however, I am including that in the 21 though. But so technically there are 20 open and in-service table service restaurants, which is still a lot of table service restaurants in comparison to some of the other parks. So, all right, those table service restaurants, in alphabetical order, is the Arakash Royal Banquet Hall, Beer Garden Restaurant, Chefs de France, Coral Reef Restaurant, Garden Grill Restaurant, La Cava Experience, La Crêperie de Paris, La Hacienda de Saint Angel, Les Celliers Steakhouse, Monsieur Paul, Nine Dragons Restaurant, Restaurant Marrakesh. This is the one that's temporarily closed with no reopening date, but again, I like to think it's permanently closed, but Disney still does list it on its website. Rose and Crown Dining Room, San Angel Inn Restaurante, Shiki Sai Sushi Izakaya, Space 220 Restaurant and Lounge, Spice Road Table, Takumi Te, Top and Edo, Tutto Italia Ristorante, and Via Napoli Ristorante e Pizzeria. So all right, let's go through our rankings. And as I go through my rankings, I will give a very little bit of background on the restaurant, just a little bit, because there are 21 restaurants for me and my mom to get through each. So we're just going to briefly touch upon them. But I will say we are doing full deep dives into all the pavilions at Epcot. So if you want to hear more about the restaurant, there are full deep dives into some of these restaurants in those deep dives of the pavilions. So definitely go check those out. And if we have not gotten to the pavilion yet, we definitely will be getting to that pavilion. And I think we definitely will do like World Nature and World Discovery in the future as well. So again, if we haven't done it yet, we'll get to it one day. So all right, what is in your number 21?
We're going to do them one at a time?
Yep. Okay. Going backwards.
Oh, the banquet hall. The Acker's House Banquet Hall.
Yeah, Acker's House, Royal Banquet Hall.
And obviously because food and the fact that it's a character thing, it does not interest me at all. That was like number 21.
All right, that's fine. All right, in my 21, that's where I had put Restaurant Marrakesh, mainly just because it's closed.
Oh no, let's do a prelude, because the way I looked at it is if it's not permanent closed and it is opening again, it is better than some of the other restaurants.
That's okay. So Restaurant Marrakesh is in Morocco, all the way in the back of the pavilion. Like truly you would like not know it was there unless you know that it's back there. Right now it has been turned into a lounge basically for annual pass holders.
No, insurance company has it.
Yeah, right now it's a lounge though basically.
Yeah, Blue Horizon or something has it as a lounge.
Yeah, so I kind of put it as my last just because almost as if like it doesn't count really in my rankings since it's not currently
I almost
open.
did that too, but then when I thought about it,
that's okay.
I like the food in there better than I like some of the other ones.
So the original short description of Restaurant Marrakesh is savory cuisine and sprightly belly dancing transport you to the heart of Morocco. This is why I'm sad that it did close, because they did have the belly dancers during this restaurant.
It was very immersive.
Yeah, and people used to say it was super fun.
It was good, and the food wasn't bad.
All right, what is in your number 20?
The Shiki Sai Sushi.
Okay.
I don't eat sushi.
So don't eat sushi. That's it.
That's it. That's the reason. Don't eat sushi. There it is.
All right, and that's it for that one?
That's it for that one.
All right, in my number 20, I have La Crêperie de Paris. So this is in France and the new part of the France, kind of by Remy's Ratatouille Adventure. Its short description is treat your senses to savory galettes and sweet crepes at a restaurant inspired by the Brittany region of France. Bon appetit. Now, La Crêperie de France is both a sit-down restaurant and a quick service at the same time, so you can just get the crepes at quick service. The reason why this is basically in my last place is because I don't like crepes at all. I don't like the texture of crepes. I think they're very strange. I really prefer American-style pancakes if I'm going to eat a pancake, like the fluffier ones, or maybe like the Japanese-style fluffy pancakes. But that thin crepe, I think it's such a weird texture. I think it has a weird flavor. I have had both savory and sweet crepes in my life, and I have disliked both of them. And I say that as someone who, when I used to live in Boston, in Brookline, there was a very popular crepe place that everyone always went to. So I went there frequently, ate many crepes, and honestly, I never liked a single one of them. So that's why I'm putting this place last. I honestly would never eat here. So
well, I'd eat that before I'd eat some of the other food.
That's okay, yeah. All right, what is your 19?
The Takumi
Te.
Yeah, Takumi
That's
Te.
so funny. That's also my 19.
Yeah,
Takumi
because it's
Te.
Japanese Japanese food. I don't eat Japanese food. So
again, this is in Japan. I put this as my 19 as the lowest ranked of the Japan restaurants. This is 3 Japan restaurants. This is the omakase dining experience. Disney says, immerse yourself in a truly creative dining experience in a sublime setting in Takumite, Japanese for House of the Artisan. An omakase dining experience means up to the chef. So what it means is that you can either do the carnivore style or the vegetarian style, and the chef will serve you whatever he feels like serving you.
I don't eat that way.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I personally don't like to eat in that fashion. I do like to have a little bit of say over what I'm going to eat. Given as a vegetarian, I do for the most part eat anything that is vegetarian, so I would eat whatever is put in front of me. However, I don't really like the air of mystery behind it. I know some people love that. It's very exciting.
Yes,
for them
I
to
would
eat
think
that
the
way.
atmosphere and the way they do it is very nice, but
Yes,
as much
but it's
as
just not my style
I'm
of
even more
eating.
fussy than she is. So
Yeah.
nobody puts in front of me and says eat it. And,
I know, right? Can you
and if
imagine
I
it
can't
put, like, raw fish or
identify
something?
it, right? If I can't identify it, it does not go in my mouth. So
Yeah.
I'm the one that asks the waitress or the waiter 50,000 questions before I get my meal because I want to make sure I'm ordering the right thing.
So that's why I put this one as my lowest ranked Japanese one, just because I don't like that style of eating. And like
No.
my mom said too, this is one of the more expensive options
very
in
expensive.
Epcot. So we'll never go there. All right, in 18, what is your
Beer
18?
garden.
Oh, beer garden. Okay.
Yeah, beer garden. First of all, because I don't like buffet, first of all. And second of all, most of the food on there is very, very heavy. I say it's probably very good German food, but I'm not a big German food eater. There's maybe 2 things on the buffet that I would like to eat. So to pay that money to go in there, to have all that choice of food and not want to eat it, I kind of put it down on the list.
Yeah, honestly, so my beer garden is ranked one higher. In my 18, I have Monsieur Paul. So this is in France, kind of on the right side. I had put Monsieur Paul down so much. Oh, so real quick, Disney says, make it an evening to remember, and Monsieur Paul, a gourmet restaurant serving classic French cuisine. Very similar to Takumi Thai. You have little say over what you're going to eat there. You can't change the menu. It's a very expensive, very fancy restaurant. They actually do have a dress code to go to Monsieur Paul. So that's why I ranked it so low as well, just because I am a picky eater. I'm a vegetarian, so it's just not my style of eating. If I was going to eat at France, I would just eat at the other French restaurant, honestly. So, but overall, I mean, like I would still pick Monsieur Paul though over the other 3 restaurants that I've already mentioned. So, all right, what is in your number 17?
Monsieur Paul.
Monsieur Paul. Yeah, I'm just gonna say because my 17 is beer garden, so we just switched it for each
Right.
other.
Because of the same reasons.
Yes. So nothing else to add.
Same reasons. Got nothing else to add. Don't want to go there.
No, for sure. It does sound very interesting to go to. And like, I'm not saying I would never not go to Monsieur Paul, but just overall, I don't think it would be my top option. So, all right, yeah, in my 17, this is where I have Beer Garden Restaurant. So this is in Germany. It is the only table service restaurant in Germany. Disney says, celebrate Oktoberfest all year long with authentic German cuisine and lively entertainment. I rank this one higher than Monsieur Paul because it does have that entertainment. I have seen videos of the entertainment online before, and it does look quite fun. So in that sense, I think it would be fun to see that live entertainment. However, again, as a vegetarian, I don't eat meat, and the Oktoberfest buffet style eating is very meat based. So if I went there, I honestly don't know what I would eat. I do know they have some plant-based meat options for you to have.
Oh,
but
they do? Okay.
yeah, I think they do have that. I think at this point, Disney has at least one plant-based option at every restaurant just because they want to have something. But I would say overall, if I had a choice, I just wouldn't pick here. I pick someone else that would have better plant-based meat options. And I think overall, for my own palate, I've never been a big German food eater. Like
No, that's what I mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've
it's like I'm not a big German
We don't
food
have a lot of
eater.
German food in this house because it's very heavy food. It's
Yes.
very butter laden. It's very, 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 very heavy type
Yes,
food.
and no one in my family actually comes from German descent either. Like we come from Irish and Italian descent, so those are the foods we tend to lean more towards.
Yes.
So yeah, so just sad for Beer Garden, but again, I do think the lively entertainment, like the drums and the music that they play, looks super fun. So maybe one day. All right, what's in your 16?
Rose and Crown.
Okay,
There is nothing on that menu that I would like to eat. I got to tell you, it used to be better.
Yes.
I have to admit that. Well, we used to eat there every once in a while because Dad liked it. But I have to tell you that they have changed their menu. And I look at every single entree and go, nope. The only thing I could possibly pick is the fish and chips and deal with it because that's why it's so low because I just will not go there.
No, that's fair. All right, in my 16, I'm surprised I actually ranked this kind of so low, but this is where I put Tap and Ito. This is the hibachi in Japan. So Japan has 3 restaurants. This is the hibachi
Right, but you don't
one.
have to eat hibachi.
Nope. Disney says every seat has an excellent view when tapping chefs cook traditional Japanese dishes right at your table. Overall speaking, I don't like hibachi. I've never been a huge hibachi fan. I do think it's a very fun show, so I do think it's fun to see hibachi shows, but I always find that hibachi food never tastes very good. I find it to be quite bland.
Bland. They don't put anything on it. They just chop it up and use it as a show.
Yeah, so I've been to hibachi a few times in a few different states, and yeah, every time I've gone, it just seems
That's
bland
why
to
when
me,
we
so
went
it's just
there,
not
we
my
didn't
favorite.
eat the hibachi. We ate in the regular dining room.
Yeah, so can you still do that to this day? I think they're separate now.
Yeah, they're still separate. You can still go in the regular dining room and eat.
But I think you have to book a table in the regular dining room, whereas the Tapanito, you book a table for Tapanito.
Isn't that what we're talking about, Tapanito?
Yes.
Yeah, in Tapanito, you either book hibachi or you book a table in the regular dining room.
No, Tapanito is just the hibachi. The regular dining room is that sushi place now, that the Tokyo dining.
Oh, they changed it.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'm sorry.
when they
because-
redid the
Well,
re-
then mine is all the way up where it shouldn't be because I thought we could still go there and eat like we did. Like, we had the tempura. I had
So
the
that's the
tempura.
sushi place. So basically, the restaurant used to be called Tokyo Dining, and they rebranded Tokyo Dining
I didn't
to
know that.
Yeah, to Shikisai Sushi
Okay.
Izakaya. That is what Tokyo Dining used to be.
Well, then Tapanito
So if you're
has
gonna
to go down further. Okay. Okay. I didn't. That's the one I didn't look up because I thought it was
No,
still
that's
the
okay.
same.
Yeah.
Okay.
So Tapanito, I believe it's just.
Okay.
I could be wrong. I'm not sure. If I'm wrong,
Okay.
let me know because
No
I'm not
problem.
100% sure. So
Okay.
sorry. I would
Mine is
definitely.
still up where-
I would say look it up in
Yeah.
case you don't know. So
Yeah, I'd
just so
probably
you
go
know.
for
Yeah,
I'd probably
look it
go
up.
for the hibachi before I'd go for some of this other stuff anyway. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't love hibachi, so that's just why I ranked it so low in comparison. All right, what's your 15?
My 15 is Marrakesh because, like
Okay.
I said,
Oh, yeah, you put
I went
Marrakesh,
with
yeah.
the idea that if it was open, that's where I would put it, and I would go there and have a meal and do that. I'm not a big Moroccan food eater, but I have to admit there are a couple of things that I can pick and choose and get on the menu, and I thought it was a great atmosphere. So, being that it was on the list, I put it up at 15.
Yeah, for sure. All right, in my 15, this is where I have the La Cava experience.
Oh.
This is in the Mexican Pavilion to the right side of inside the Mexican Pavilion. You can also sit down at the bar and not do the full experience. I was surprised this was considered a table service in Epcot because it doesn't seem like it's table service, but because it's a full experience, they do consider it a table service. So it's kind of like a mix between a table service restaurant and like an actual experience that you're booking. So Disney says, with a certified tequila ambassador as your host, learn the history and sample the taste of quintessentially Mexican spirit. Salud. So yeah, so when you go to this experience, basically it's just a tequila tasting, a very fancy, high scale tequila tasting. I don't really drink tequila, if I'm being honest.
Good drinks and good dip.
Yeah, I'm not a
That's
big
it.
tequila
Yeah,
person.
I
But
am.
again, you don't have to go do the full experience. You can just go to the bar. It often does have very long lines to go to the bar,
Yes.
but if you can get a table and sit down and just have a drink, it is worth it. So that's why I did rank it high, because their chips and dip is very good. And I do think it would be fun to do this in the Mexico Pavilion, even though I'm not a big tequila drinker. And I feel like I would probably, I'm assuming they can mix your tequila with a drink like a
Yes.
margarita rather than just drinking
It's much
it straight.
higher up on my list because I am a tequila
Yeah, my mom
drinker.
likes tequila. So, all right, what is your 14?
14 would be the Tapanito experience because, like I said, it's just especially if it's just hibachi because I can eat the hibachi. It just doesn't hold that much for me.
Yeah,
but
no,
at least
for
I
sure.
can eat there. It's a nice atmosphere. It's fun. It's whatever. So that's why I would put it at 14.
Yeah, no, that's okay. All right, in my 14, this is where I have Arakashas Royal Banquet Hall. This is in Norway. Join the Disney princesses for storybook dining inside a medieval castle with a soaring archways and cathedral ceilings. This is princess character dining. I rank this one a little bit kind of in the mid because while we've never done it before, I do think it'd be kind of fun, It's like I'm not a big character dining person, but I just like the idea of the character dining. And I think too, I think it'd just be kind of a fun experience. I like the idea of meeting the princesses in that kind of, that like Norway type of style, like cathedral type of building. I don't know. I just thought it sounded cool. So I ranked it a little bit higher. All right, what's in your 13?
Still a crepe place.
Okay.
I don't mind crepes. I mean, I would not pick them as a meal.
Meanwhile,
The
I'm like,
texture
it's my
doesn't-
last one.
Right, yeah. Texture doesn't bother me.
Yeah, no, I'm not a crepe person.
Some of them actually look pretty good. I mean,
They
it
always
just
look
doesn't-
pretty, yeah.
Yeah, they all look pretty good and they get pretty good reviews. They do have soup and stuff in there too. It's just something I would not pick, but if I had to pick it against the other ones, this is the one I would go to.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, in my 13, this is where I have Space 220 Restaurant and Lounge. This is in World Discovery, kind of by where Mission Space is. Disney says, stargaze while you savor flight bites, atmospheric spirits, and worldly wines in this stellar lounge. So you can both sit at the restaurant and the lounge in Space 220, so you don't actually have to have a dining service, like a table service reservation for the restaurant. You can just go up and do the lounge, and you can get served food there. The one thing about Space 220 that puts us off and why we haven't gone is that it is a prefixed course and menu.
In the restaurant, yes.
Yes, so you do have, you pay, everyone pays a certain amount, and then you have a prefixed menu that you're basically going to be served, and we just don't really like that.
No.
A lot of the options I just don't think I would
That's
pick
why
from.
I
so-
put it up just a little bit higher, but when you get to mine, I'll tell you, it's the lounge I would sit down in. I
Yeah,
would
for
not
sure.
sit in the restaurant.
But I do like the idea of the ride aspect of it,
Yes,
that you're launching into
I would love to
space.
see the
That looks
atmosphere.
super fun. I
Yes.
think the area itself looks really cool. Like when they first opened it, it looked amazing. Like I would have gone just to do that experience, just to
Right.
see what it was like to go up into space, so to speak. So I think that in that way it would be really fun. But to actually eat there, I've looked over the menu many times because I've always thought maybe this time we'll go. Every time I look over the menu, I'm like, I don't know if it's really worth it, because you have to do the prefixed
Right.
courses.
Well, that's why
You
I said
have to
that's
do
the only
three
way I would
courses.
go is in the lounge.
And I just don't want to do that. So that's why it's ranked kind of in the middle again. All right, what is your 12?
Garden grill character.
Okay.
The food always looks really good because it's all locally, they grow their own.
Yeah, the locally sourced
tomatoes
stuff,
and they have the fish and they have the things and stuff. But it's got Chippendale characters. Not interested in sitting and having Chippendale come and join me for dinner. And like I said, I tend to shy away from the characters because our experience was, even when you were little, that you're paying to see the characters. The food tends to be less choices and less quality of the food when you go to those restaurants because you're going there. They know that people are going there mostly to see the characters.
Yeah, for sure. All right, in my 12, this is where I have Rose and Crown Dining Room. This is in the United Kingdom Pavilion along the water. Disney says this family-friendly British pub features traditional favorites and waterfront dining. That is why I rank this one so high. It's because it is right along the water.
I was going to say, what are you going to eat in there? There was nothing. If
Right
Amanda
along the
looked at that
water.
menu right now, I don't think there's one thing on that menu that she could say to me, oh, I could eat that.
I love French fries, and I love sitting by the
That's
lagoon.
it. French fries by the water.
And I think they have one of the best views to watch the nighttime shows.
Yes, they do.
And that is why it got ranked so high for me, because I was looking at not just the menu, but the overall experience of going.
In order to get that table, we have to eat there. That's not
And that's
happening.
okay, though. I think
French fries
depending
the best
upon
of
the
us can.
situation, I think it would be worth it because they do have one of the best views in all of the lagoon to watch the fireworks from there. And that is why their packages can be very expensive because they know they have one of the best views.
Right, they do.
And
I'm
I do
obstructed.
like the atmosphere of Rose and Crown too. That
Yes, it's very
United
fun.
Kingdom
That's
pub.
why we used to go there.
Yeah, so that's why I also kind of ranked it high too.
Yeah,
Kind of
very
fun though in
nice.
that sense, Rose and Crown. All right, what's your 11?
Space 220 Lounge.
Okay, that's where you put
Like I said, I would not eat in the, I was going to say, as you said, I would not eat in the dining room. But as I see a lot of people talking about it, they're saying the lounge is definitely, when I looked at the menu and the drinks and the atmosphere, I thought it would be really cool.
Yeah, for sure. All right, in my 11, I have Spice Road Table. This is in Morocco along the water. Simmer your senses in the flavors of the Mediterranean as you unwind in the ambiance of a picturesque waterfront view. I actually love Mediterranean and Moroccan
Now,
food.
they have the waterfront view with better food.
Yeah, well, that's why they're ranked higher than Rose and Crown. Now,
I
isn't
know.
it?
We should go there one day.
Yeah, so I love Moroccan food.
I
I've
have
always
eaten there.
really liked
Amanda has
Moroccan
not eaten
food.
there yet.
Yep, and I've always loved Mediterranean food as well, just like in a general sense.
Yeah.
Morocco is one of my favorite pavilions. It is when I named my cat after this pavilion. Her name is Morocco. So I would love to go to Spice Road Table. But again, I've never actually been there. So
No,
I
I
don't
have.
actually know what
And
the
I
food is
liked
like
it.
personally. All right, what's in your 10?
10 is Coral Reef.
Okay.
I like Coral Reef because it's a big
Wait, now
fish.
we're in our top 10. Yeah, we made it to the top 10.
Well,
Okay.
like I said, from 11 to 21, not really picking those restaurants. I got to tell you. I mean, I've been to half of them and not going back, and I'm not going to the other half. But 1 to 10, I would go back to. Coral Reef, I thought was very good when we ate there. It's really funny because I remember sitting in the restaurant and I ordered yellow snapper, and as I'm sitting there waiting for my food to come, a little yellow snapper comes riding by in the tank that they have
Yeah,
in the
I remember
restaurant.
that.
I'm
It
like,
was funny.
oh my God, I don't think I want to be seeing it swimming past me while I'm waiting for it to eat. So that was a little annoying. But I have to say the food was very good when I was there. And when you look at their menu, they have a lot of nice choices. So I thought Coral Reef, and I think it's forgotten because it's all the way in the back behind the ride. So, but I thought it was pretty good when we were there.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, in my 10, this is where I have Shiki Sai Sushi Izakaya.
Okay.
This is in Japan. Take in stunning views of Epcot at this delightful sushi bar and grill and immerse yourself in scenes from Japan's seasons and festivals. Now, again, if we're confusing the restaurants and this
I
is not the
confused it.
main
I'm
dining
sorry.
room and Tapanito is, then I would also switch it as well. Because while I don't eat sushi, I do love Japanese and just Asian
And it
food
was
in
very
general
nice when
sense.
we went. The girls all dressed in the Japanese
for
outfits.
sure.
They were
Yeah.
very sweet. There wasn't a lot for us to pick. Dad loved it because he loves, sushi.
I mean, like,
and
I
all
had
that
a lot
stuff.
to pick from, I feel like. I
Yeah,
don't
you
know.
did. I didn't, but I had tempura, which was fine. I mean, it was very good. I mean, it wasn't like I didn't walk out of there going, "Oh my God, that was some meal." I thought it was just very nice, and the atmosphere was just very nice.
Yeah, no, for sure. So again, if we're confusing the restaurants, then
Yes,
it's
I'm
one or
sorry
the
if
other.
I confused you.
I'm not sure either myself because I'm confused. So
Okay.
not sure. But all right, what is your 9?
Spice Road.
Okay.
Because like I said, I have eaten there. And there they are, also another restaurant with a view that's right out there on the water that's very nice. It's just very nice atmosphere. The food was very good. I thought it was great. I would go back.
Yeah, no, I would love to go to Spice Road Table. So definitely one day. All right, in my number 9, this is where I have La Hacienda de San Angel. This is in Mexico along the water. So again, Mexico has 2 table services. This is the one on the water. Disney says authentic Mexican cuisine and premium margaritas are served with the old world hospitality at this waterfront retreat. I really love Mexican food. It's one of my favorite genres of food in general. So we were actually supposed to eat here many, many years ago when I was a child, and my mom got very sick right before we were supposed to eat.
We were
so we
standing
ended
there
up not
waiting for
eating
our
there.
table, and all of a sudden the room started to spin, and I was like, I don't think I feel very
Yes.
well.
It is always an option when we go to Disney. It's like,
Yes.
should we go there?
Should
Should
we
we
go?
not? However, my parents aren't as big Mexican food eaters as I am, so we usually end up picking somewhere else instead.
I'm becoming more of a Mexican food eater because I pick and choose, and I like
Yeah.
some of the stuff. Dad's a little bit more picky about it.
Yeah, me and my
but-
partner, we eat Mexican. Our first couple dates was just Mexican food. That's all we ate for
No,
a
I'm beginning
while.
to like Mexican food more and more. I just pick pick and choose
But
which
again,
one I
as you can kind of tell, I'm really picking the restaurants along the water as like some of my top ones, just because I think that view and that ambiance is what I personally really value. So, all right, what is your number 8?
Mine is La Hacienda.
Okay,
Because of the, like I said, because of the atmosphere, the view, the food. Like I said, I'm getting a little bit
really pretty
more
restaurant.
acclimated to Mexican food. And I love my tequila, and it goes really great with Mexican food.
Yeah, we always do get the guacamole and chips there.
Yes.
So, all right, in my number 8, this is where I put Coral Reef Restaurant. This is in World Nature, where the Finding Nemo ride is. Disney says enjoy intimate dining and spectacular views of a living coral reef and more than 2,000 amazing sea creatures who call it home. And that is why I ranked this one pretty high up, because I do think it is really cool to sit there and be right next to the
I love being in
aquarium.
any restaurant that has a tank.
No matter where you sit in that restaurant, you can still see the tank too. So you don't have to sit right next to the tank.
No.
You can obviously request a table sit next to the tank, and they will.
Right,
Yes.
it's leveled. The tables are on levels, so that as you sit away from the tank, you're up higher.
Yes, you can still. That's what, anywhere you sit, you can still see the tank, and that's what I think. That's why you're going there, right? Is to look
to
at
see
the
that
fish,
tank,
to
yes.
enjoy the views. It's like a very dark restaurant, obviously too, because you're right next to the tank.
It's all
Again,
blue,
the food.
so you feel like you're underwater.
Yep, the food was always pretty decent there where we went, so I do like Coral Reef Restaurant. We haven't eaten there in a while now.
No, we tend to go back to all the same places over and over again.
Because
our
we have other
favorites.
favorites is the
Yes.
thing. So again, there's 21 restaurants in Epcot,
I
and we
know.
only go
We have to
for
start branching
we only
out.
have 1 or 2 nights to eat at Epcot at night,
I
so
know.
it's hard to pick. So okay, what is your 7?
A La Cava.
Okay,
Because
the
I love
tequila
going there to have a
experience,
margarita and the chips. Like I said, sometimes it's just too crowded. And I tend not to like to drink during the day, because then once I have the margarita and the chips, I want to go take a nap. But I have to admit, I really like going in there. I think it's fun. I think the margaritas are excellent, and their chips and dips are excellent. So I really enjoy going there.
Yeah, for sure. In my number 7, this is where I put Garden Grill Restaurant. This is in World Nature in the Land. See Chip and Dale and their Disney pals as you dig into family-style dining and revolve around vibrant views from Living with the Land. And this is a character dining style meal that, again, is family style. You have no other option but to do family style, unfortunately. And you get to meet Chip, Dale, and Mickey, and sometimes there are other characters like Goofy, but usually those are like the core 3 at the very least. This is ranked so high, even though I've actually never eaten here before, because I desperately want to eat here so bad. I have heard people say it is very good. I've heard the breakfast there is supposed to be very good as well. And I would love to eat here. I love Living with
I
the
offered
Land.
last time to go there for breakfast.
The only thing, it is pretty expensive, obviously. So again, for us, I'm like, maybe one day in the future when it's just me, my fiance or my family or something like that, it's like maybe then I'll go to Garden Grill. But for right now with my parents, I don't think it's worth it to go. But I would love to go to Garden Grill. One day we're getting to Garden Grill.
I'm willing to
I would
go.
love to do it. And I love the idea too. You get to see Living with the Land. I think that's so fun that you're
from the
turning
other side,
around.
yeah.
I love rides where I love restaurants where you can see the rides. I think that's so fun. So I think that's really cool. You get to see Living with the Land. And I think I would probably do the breakfast experience, since I've heard the breakfast food is very good. Everyone who's had breakfast has all said it's good.
Well, especially family style. It's harder to eat
Yes.
for us to all eat family style.
Yeah, I don't
dinner.
know how family style would work when one person is vegetarian, because I think it will become a challenge as soon as I sit down and realize that it's like impossible for me to eat there. But I guess I'll find out when the time comes. But anyway, I ranked it so high because it is a dream to go eat at Garden Grill restaurant. So, all right, what is your 6?
Chefs de France.
Oh, 6 is also my Chefs de France. Yeah.
I mean, every time we go there, it's good. It's a very limited menu, so there's only 1 or 2 things that I usually like to eat there. But it's great. The guys are really fun. The waitresses or waiters that you get are always fun, and the wine is good, and the bread is good. So I think it's really nice.
Yeah. So Chefs de France is on the left side of the pavilion when you're facing the France pavilion. Disney says delight in French Nouvelle cuisine at this family-friendly brassiere as you drink in views of the World Showcase Promenade. That's a good point. It's not actually on the water itself. It is on the promenade.
No, it's on the promenade.
However, I do love the atmosphere and the views of it as well, because you kind of are sunken down a little bit, like one level. So it really does feel like you're in that Paris, restaurant where you're like down a level and you kind of look up to the
lots of
street,
people walking by the
which is
glass
really
door
cool. And I
windows.
really do love that. And again, every time we've gone there, the service is always phenomenal.
excellent.
Everyone's very nice. And the food is always pretty good too. I do like the food. My mom did say it is a more smaller menu in comparison to some of the other restaurants, but it's still very good to go there. So I do like Chefs de France. And that's what I was saying too about Monsieur Paul. If I was going to go to France, I would just go to Chefs de France and just not do Monsieur Paul.
Monsieur Paul is just...
That's why I just got the Monsieur Paul got ranked so low, because it does have other options. So
And plus, when we're there, if I need to go dressed up and go to a real fancy restaurant, then I'll go outside the park. I'm not going to be in the park worrying about getting, going to Monsieur Paul.
all right, we are up to our top 5 restaurants now. I feel like we are going to have the same top 5
Oh, of course.
based
And
upon
what's
what we
left.
already
Yes.
talked about.
Everything
So
that's left, we're going to be...
it'll be interesting to see how we ranked them.
Yes, they'll just be a little
similarly.
different,
So, all right,
maybe.
what is your 5?
Tutto Italia.
Oh, you put Tutto Italia's 5. Okay.
Tutto Italia, because I find that the last few times I've been to Tutto Italia, I love the food, I love the atmosphere, I love everything about it. It's been very unreliable.
Yeah,
I've
my mom always
ordered
says it's
certain-
hit or miss for her. So.
Yes, Amanda always gets the same dish. I get different dishes here and there, but it's always been a little unreliable. Sometimes
Well, you
it's
just
really
had tomatoes
great.
and mozzarella last time. time. So.
Yes, but sometimes it's really great and sometimes it's not. Like their eggplant parmesan, one time I had it, it was the most amazing I've ever had, and then the next time I ordered it, it was horrible. So I think that they kind of go up and down as far as Italian food goes.
Okay, that's fine. In my 5, I have San Angel Inn Restaurante. This is the restaurant inside the Mexico Pavilion. So Disney says, dine in perpetual twilight at this Mexican restaurant, model after a 17th century hacienda at the base of the Mayan ruins. I love the atmosphere of this restaurant. If I had to pick atmosphere alone, this probably would be my number 1, honestly. But I love the idea of this restaurant. And recently, too, they switched out some of the chairs there to be booth style. So, because before all the tables were all chairs and tables, now there is some booth style in there. So you're not as on top of each other when you're sitting there at the restaurant. However, I love it so much. I think it's so cool that you're sitting there, that you get to watch the boats go by of the Grand Fiesta Tour. It's like when you're there, again, I love Mexican food. So Mexican food is my favorite. So it's like, again, it kind of has everything that I want in a restaurant when you're there, basically. And again, I love the idea too, that perpetual twilight, like how, like how ethereal is that? Right. How interesting is that? I think that's so cool. It's the same reason why if I did not go to Disneyland Paris by myself, I would have loved to eat at the Jack Sparrow's restaurant, which is the restaurant in the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. Same idea where it's like you get to watch all the boats go by, but I was there by myself and I didn't really want to waste time at sit-down tables when I was there by myself, so I didn't eat there. But anyway, would have loved to eat there. Same thing as well with the restaurant in New Orleans Square in Disneyland.
Oh, it was closed when we went there.
I forget what that restaurant's called off the top of my head. The Blue Bayou.
I wanted to go there so badly, and
you can see the Pirates of the Caribbean ride. So again, I love the idea of restaurants and rides together. I think it's so cool.
Yeah, the Southern flair. I really wanted to go there.
Especially with the boat rides, because in Disneyland Paris, Remy does have a restaurant at Remy's Ratatouille Adventure in Disneyland Paris, but it's not a boat ride, so it's a little bit different. But you can see the ride technically from the restaurant. So, but I love that so much. Atmosphere alone, San Angel Inn Restaurant would be my number 1. But food-wise, there are other restaurants I like the food better. Right. So, all right, what is your 4?
San Angel.
Okay, so you have San Angel, yeah.
Yeah, because I think their food is good. I mean, even though it is Mexican, there are things you can pick that, like I said, I can pick and choose and know that I'm getting really good food. And the atmosphere.
The atmosphere is the best.
You just feel like you're,
and plus there's the little shops right next door. So you can look at
it's like you're not, you're someplace completely different. Like you're not in the park, you're just someplace. It's like one of those restaurants where you go in the middle of the day and it's sunny outside and you go into a dark restaurant and you come out and go, oh, here we are. And that's what San Angel is.
No, I love it so much. So we'll have to definitely try to go back there soon. All right, in my number 4, this is where I have Nine Dragons Restaurant. So this is the only table service restaurant in China. Disney says savor contemporary Chinese cuisine amid ornate wood cravings, traditional lanterns, and exquisite glass artwork. I really love Nine Dragons Restaurant. For the food wise, it's one of my favorite food places, especially. I will say I am Chinese, so I am biased towards Chinese food, but I do love Chinese food in a general sense. So of course, I was going to like the restaurant in the China Pavilion as well. So I do love Nine Dragons, one of my favorites for sure. Okay, what is in your 3?
Le Cellier.
Le Cellier, okay.
I think Le Cellier, I really love it. Don't like any time we've been there, we've had a problem getting a table, but I do love it. The service is great. Once you sit down, the service is great. The food is great. I find Le Cellier to be very heavy food. I tend to lean away from the heavy food when we're walking around and doing stuff in the park. But I have to admit, the last meal we had there was just excellent. So Le Cellier is one of my favorite top 3.
For sure. All right, in my 3rd, again, our top 3 now so wild, is Via Napoli Ristorante e Pizzeria. This is in Italy, all the way in the back. Disney says discover authentic Italian cooking, including hearty pastas, fresh salads, and pizzas perfected in wood-burning ovens. This is the famous Epcot or Disney restaurant that they import the water in. It's actually imported from Pennsylvania, not from Napoli, like people think it is. Yes. However, the water properties of this town in Pennsylvania is the exact same as Napoli. So that's where they import the water, but they do import the water, so it is the most authentic tasting, like water in the bread as you possibly can get. Yeah, very good. Honestly, the food here is one of the best too. It's very hard to get a reservation here since it is so popular. It is that Napoli style of pizza, so some people don't like that style of pizza. I think it tastes very good, so it is very good. We often get pizza when we are here, and again, they do have other options as well.
Yeah, they do have the spaghetti and meatballs. They do have Parmesan. They do have salads.
Yeah, you can get other food as well. Yes. But yeah, very good as well. They do have some like family style seating where it's like these long tables that you can sit at.
Tables, yes.
So sometimes they will seat multiple families kind of next to each other, which throws people off for a second. But yeah, to me, we've actually never sat at one of those tables before. But
I think it's big groups. When they have big group, when they have like, people with a lot of people, they have to put them at those big tables.
But one of my favorite restaurants for sure. It's definitely very good. And I feel like it is one of the most popular restaurants in Epcot overall, I would say, because again, you can't really go wrong with pizza and pasta in the Italy restaurant. Right. And I think the atmosphere in this restaurant too is also very fun as well. It's very bright, very airy.
It makes you feel like you're in a cafe in Italy.
Yeah, no, for sure. All right, what is your number 2?
Mine is Via Napoli.
Oh, Via Napoli?
Yeah,
okay.
I love it. I just love it. All the, like all the waiters and waitresses are Italian. They're all cute. They're all very nice. Food is excellent. I could eat pizza every day. I like like Via Napoli. I would
no, I
go
love
there
Via
every
Napoli
time if
too.
I could.
That's funny. I had it as my 3. You had it as your 2, so I know what your 1 is now as well.
Yes.
So I'm curious to see where you probably already know where my 1 is. So my number 2 is Les Cellier Steakhouse. This is the table service restaurant in Canada. Descend into the cozy cellar of a Canadian chateau for exquisite steaks and seafood specialties at the Walt Disney World Resort in Florida. That's so funny how that's written. That's literally from Disney itself. I thought the food here was phenomenal. I thought it was some of the best food I've ever had at a Disney park restaurant.
Yes.
So in the parks
It
itself.
is. That's why you can't get a table there either.
Some of the absolute best food. I think the atmosphere isn't the greatest. Not my favorite. I guess I'm just not a wine cellar person personally.
Well, it's very dark. It's not even dark.
Well, you're supposed to be in a cellar. So
yes,
that's
you're
why.
supposed to be in a wine cellar.
So I get it,
thing.
but again,
It's
not my favorite
yeah.
atmosphere. And again, we've had lots of problems going to this
Yes.
restaurant from the front and like booking
Front desk,
part of it.
yes, the front desk just does not know what
our
they're
waiters
doing.
and waitresses and the food has always been great.
Yes,
but
the
from
waitress was
front end,
excellent.
sitting down has always been a problem. So considering we've had so many problems here, it still does rank as my number 2 because the food is just that good. I thought the food was some of the best when I was there.
I find that, like I said, it's very heavy food because I would
is
love
heavy
to order
food,
one
yes.
of their big heavy steaks. But the problem is if you're walking around the park and I only eat half the steak, what am I going to do? I just refuse to spend $50 for a steak and then send half of it back to be thrown out because I'm
Yeah.
in the park. So I tend to shy away from the things I really want to eat in that restaurant. So even though I think it's
well,
one of the
day
best
maybe you and
restaurants-
Dad should share a steak or something.
Yeah,
So.
he always likes something else.
Well, tell him.
And he
Suck it
eats-
up. You're
and he-
sharing a steak with
and
me.
he eats his whole meal. I just can't.
Well, then
So
he can get a little snacky snack later. So you know what?
force him to eat my steak.
Yeah. So, but I really loved Les Cellier.
Yes.
I thought the food was
Yes,
just
the food
so
was good.
phenomenal. Again, it is heavy food, but I do think it was just such good food. And I feel like finding sometimes good food in the parks. Epcot's not a problem, honestly. Epcot has too many places
I gotta
to
say,
eat.
we could find food in
Yeah,
Epcot.
Epcot has too many restaurants that we like. Some of the other parks, though.
Magic Kingdom, Hollywood Studios are the worst.
I would say Hollywood Studios.
Hollywood
is the worst.
Studios
that's
is the
that
absolute
one's the
bottom.
worst.
Then it's
Magic Kingdom has some options.
Then
for
Animal
sure.
Kingdom. Then Epcot.
Yeah, but yeah, Les Cellier, I wish there's, and this also is technically the only steakhouse in the park too. Out of 21 restaurants, only one steakhouse,
Yeah,
which
in the
makes
park,
sense if you think about it.
In any
But-
of the parks. Oh no, Brown Derby is a steak place, which is not bad in Hollywood Studios because we've been there. They actually do have good food.
Yeah, but I do love Les Cellier. And then now we're to our number 1. What is your
we
top
know what your
restaurant?
number one's going to be. My number 1 is Nine Dragons.
Yeah.
I love Nine Dragons. I love the atmosphere. I love the whole idea. I love Chinese food. I just love it. I love the furniture. I love everything about Nine Dragons. I love the furniture that you sit on. It's actually Chinese furniture.
It is.
It's all the Chippendale looking Chinese carved furniture that you're sitting on. I mean, it's when you walk into that dining room, you look like it's Chinese. And I really like it. I really like Chinese food. So I love dumplings. I love their egg rolls. I love everything about them.
Yeah. So in our China Pavilion deep dive, I really deep dive into this restaurant as well there to talk about why it's called Nine Dragons. It's called Nine Dragons because of the 9 jade dragons that you can find around the restaurant itself. But yeah, but if you want to learn more about Nine Dragons, definitely listen to that episode because we do dive way more into it. But I agree. I love Nine Dragons. That's why it is in my top 5 because it's one of my favorites and it's one that is a good staple because you know the food will always be good there. It used to have a different menu. Recently, the menu I think is much better because it's much more
They've
varied.
updated it, yes.
They just have a lot of basics, and then sometimes it's all you need is the American Chinese basic Chinese food.
Right.
So I will say in that sense too, it is American Chinese food, not the authentic Chinese
Yes,
food.
it's not authentic, which is what I like anyway.
Yeah, that's what I prefer too, growing up
Right.
in America. So I prefer American Chinese food. It is what it is. My number 1 is Tutto Italia
Italia.
Ristorante
Not
in the
surprised.
Italian Pavilion. Delight in warm service and traditional favorites at this Italian restaurant. I did put, it can be a hit or miss because we have had misses here before, especially during times where it is the prefixed courses. Like for instance,
don't
for
go
New
during
Year's.
the holidays.
Yeah, so we went there one time on New Year's Eve, and the food was definitely, that was the worst we'd ever been
Yes.
there. It tasted good, like my spaghetti was great,
No,
but
ours
it was
wasn't.
it
We
was
got-
chopped into small
we got
pieces.
some kind of pork chops or something, and it was bad. I swear, we ordered and we swore that there was a revolving door in the kitchen where the guy walked in the kitchen and came back out 2 seconds later around that revolving door and put the
Yeah.
food in front of us.
So I will say, but even though it's hit or miss, it still
Yes.
ranks as my number 1 because I will say that is some of the best spaghetti and red sauce I've had in my whole life, which is a really big statement to make, honestly, because I've eaten a lot of pasta in my life. I've made a lot of pasta. My mom's Italian. She's
I've had
made
it,
pasta.
and I'm not really. I
I
don't
just
wait-
love it
I don't
so
understand
much.
what she gets from it, but it's
I
good.
can't explain it. It's just so.
Yes.
And every time I have it, I'm like, maybe it won't be as good, but then
Huh?
it is. I don't know how they
Yeah,
make
I don't
their
know what
pasta
what that
sauce.
little spice is that gets her, but I've had it, and
I
I'm
think
like,
it's the sugar
okay.
because I think there's a sweeter than most
Maybe,
pastas
yeah.
is what it
They
is.
probably
So I
make
think
it
it's
Sicilian
sweeter is what it
style.
is.
You would have loved my mother's
Yeah,
sauce.
I don't usually put sugar in my own sauce, and I know you don't put sugar in yours. So
My
I
mother used to put just a tablespoon of sugar in the sauce sometimes when she made a big Sunday gravy. But my mother was from Sicily, and they made a sweet sauce. It had onions and sugar and things in it. Where my mother cooked my father's way, which was up north by Naples and Calabria. So our sauce, when I make my sauce, I make my father's favorite sauce, and that's spicy and, with the meatballs with all the flavor and all the stuff.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Maybe that's why I like it, because I don't normally have a sweet sauce like that. So, but I love it. It is my favorite, and that's why it continues to rank number one for me. So, and I love the atmosphere there. I know a little bit of Italian, so it's fun to see all the Italian people and talk to them about their stories of how they came to America, why they're doing the Disney program, all this stuff. I just think it's so great. So I just love it. I've always loved Tutto Italia, and it will continue to rank number one probably for a long time. So, but I love how we had the same top five, which was Tutto Italia, Le Cellier, Via Napoli, Nine Dragons, and San Angel Inn. Just
Obviously,
in different
those
orders.
are the restaurants we make all the reservations in.
I know, right? Those are clearly our top five, because
Yes.
we both had, when we didn't plan that, like we didn't tell each other what we were ranking.
But
So
obviously those are the ones we make, because I always, I do all the planning when we go to Disney. I do all the restaurant reservations. I figure out what days we're going where, what restaurants we have to go to, where we have to go. And I usually always ask Amanda, where do you want to go on that day? Is this okay? Do you want to go here? Do you want to go there? Do you want to go, someplace else? And I usually take her input as to, what restaurants I'm going to try to get my reservations at.
yeah, no, for sure. So yeah, so that was our rankings of the table service restaurants in Epcot. Next up, we will do the quick service restaurants in Epcot, which will also be quite the number of quick
my
service
God,
restaurants.
okay.
A few things I thought I would point out with just the table service restaurants is that it is interesting how it's uneven, that some pavilions have many table service restaurants. Japan has 3, but then others have one, like Germany has 1. Or such as the American Pavilion has none. There is no table service restaurant
quick
in the
service.
American Pavilion, which I thought was kind of interesting. That is the only pavilion along the, only pavilion without a table service restaurant. They just have the quick service restaurant, given it does get very good reviews though. But
Yeah, the new restaurant gets. Well,
Yes.
the last restaurant just had hamburgers and frankfurters and stuff like that.
Yeah, the
like
new
just
barbecue place gets
typical
great
American
reviews,
fare,
yeah.
kind of thing. And they weren't bad. We've eaten there, but now they have the barbecue, the smokehouse, which is
Yes.
supposed to be very
But
good.
that's what I'm saying. I think it's funny that the American Pavilion is the only one that doesn't have a table service restaurant, considering you are in America. So I don't know. Just thought that was kind of funny though. And when I know too, they probably don't have enough space to a certain extent at
Not
this
where
point
they
to
are,
add in
no.
another one. So maybe it was like not the foresight, because they have the whole show. They have the Voices of Liberty. So lots of stuff is going on at the American Pavilion, just not a table service restaurant at all. But again, still crazy how it's like Japan and France have like three table service restaurants, and then Canada has one. China has one.
But all
Mexico
those
has
other
2.
restaurants, I think maybe it's because American restaurant is not going to have the decor and the experience for most
Well,
people.
I think it's also hard too, yeah, because America
it's
is
an
such a
American restaurant. It's
America is quite large too as a country, so it's
Yes.
like that's why even like when they did the barbecue, there's lots of different types of barbecue in America. If you
Right.
go Mexican
So
barbecue,
that's what I mean.
South Carolina barbecue.
How do you pick one, genre? Do you go Southern? Do you go Northern? Do you go, you go California
But I think that's
cuisine?
a choice you would just have to make,
Yes.
though. I think almost they should probably do something like a Florida themed restaurant, almost in
Florida
that
or
sense.
California themed.
Yeah, because for instance, in the other pavilions, they picked an area and just said, "This is it."
This is
know,
it,
it's like
right.
France. They picked Paris. France is a huge country, and they picked Paris as their main restaurant.
They could have put Summer
So-
House in there. I mean, that's a California style
Yeah,
restaurant.
exactly. So I think there were a lot of options they could have done, but
Yeah,
they just
who knows
weren't
what they
able
were
to do it. So
thinking.
who knows? But again, I just thought that was interesting. Again, just the range of restaurants. Again, how uneven it is amongst the pavilions.
Right.
And yeah, I'm curious to see how Disney kind of makes those decisions and how that just ends up working out in the end. Also, too, there's only 2 character dining restaurants in all of Epcot as well. It's just the Princess Dining and Garden Grill. So not that many character dining
Oh,
options
that's
there.
right. The other ones don't have character.
Yeah, so again, that's interesting too, considering you have 21 restaurants, only 2 are character
them are
dining.
character.
And considering character dining is quite popular because you do get to kill 2 birds with 1 stone, it's, you would think there at least there'd be another one or another option or something like that. So I don't know, very interesting to think about. So anyway, though, all right, yeah, so definitely let us know. How would you rank the restaurants? Which restaurants when you're in top 5? Were you upset that our bottom 5 for your top
God,
5?
yes, you
Definitely let
probably
us
love
know.
them. Well, it's like anything else. That's how the world goes around. Everybody's got a different opinion.
Different, like I know people who love Beer Garden Restaurant. We both had
Oh,
that at
yeah,
the bottom
they
of our
love it.
list. We just don't eat the meat like that. I know some people who absolutely loved, like Taku and Thai or some of like the more fancy places or like crepes or whatever it may be. So definitely let us know on our Instagram. It will be linked in the link tree below. You can also search for it by searching for Almost Amanda X as well. So I would definitely like to know.
And like I said, I didn't pick the second half of restaurants because the food was bad.
Oh, yeah,
I've
no.
never really eaten a meal that I could actually say, oh my God, that was bad. It was not worth the money. I think that their choice of their entrees, I would not pick. And that's why they're rated lower. Because when we look at the menu, we're like, no, that's not we don't want to eat that. But I have to say that anything, even on the restaurants that are on my second half that we've gone to, all the food was good.
Yeah. And again, too, make sure you listen to those deep dives of the pavilions where I do deep dive more into each of these restaurants and their menus and everything like that. So, all right. So we're not going to do too much Disney news this week since we are pre-recording this episode. But one thing I just wanted to note is that Tiana's Bayou Adventure is officially opening on Friday, June 28th with a virtual queue. However, Disney did say they want to eliminate the virtual queue as quickly as possible. So I don't think it's going to have a virtual queue for very long. Right now, the only ride in Magic Kingdom with the virtual queue is the Tron ride. So everything else is just the normal standby line. So I imagine it'll just be maybe for the first few weeks and then they'll probably get rid of the virtual queue quickly. Tiana's Bayou Adventure is going straight to Genie Plus though. So it is not going to be pay per attraction. So in Magic Kingdom, they have 2 pay per attractions, Tron and Seven Dwarfs Mine Train. So I think this is exciting for the Genie Plus people who are going to be going to Magic Kingdom because Magic Kingdom does have the most rides out of all of the parks. So they have lots of options for Genie Plus, and there are the popular rides for Genie Plus in Magic Kingdom, such as Peter Pan's Flight and the Jungle Cruise. So I think having a third popular ride will eliminate some of the people who are going to Jungle Cruise and Peter Pan's Flight. Not fully though, because Tiana's Bayou Adventure, you do have to be like the little kids can't go in Tiana's Bayou Adventure. There's a height requirement for it. So little kids will still be going to Jungle Cruise and Peter Pan's Flight. However, I do think it'll help alleviate some of the evenness of trying to get those Genie Plus passes throughout the day. Also, I imagine too, probably is going to be taken up pretty quickly. So if you want to get your Genie Plus pass, definitely try to get Tiana's Bayou Adventure first, I would suggest, in case you want to get on there and not have to wait on the virtual queue and then the physical queue as well after your virtual queue. So, all right, now for some Disney birthdays. There are no Disney birthdays this week. However, we have 2 real life birthdays. The first is my fiance Ted on June 26th. So happy birthday to my fiance. And then on June 27th is my mom's first cousin Joanne. So happy birthday also to Joanne as well. And that transitions us into our final segment of the podcast, which is our Disney memory. So do you have a Disney memory?
Yes, I do. I have one ready. When we went to the Mexican Pavilion when you were young, to San Angel, it was really cool. We went there and we were sitting at the table, and I'll never forget that we just happened to say that it was your birthday. And they came around. Not only did they come and sing happy birthday, but they made a hat out of the napkins. And you were like mortified because you were just not happy that
well,
they
I was
were
a very
doing
shy
this.
child too.
Yes, she was mortified because we didn't tell them to do anything. And I don't even know how they found out it was her birthday. I think we were just talking. And they showed up and they all sang, but they made her this cutest little hat out of the napkins.
I know, my mom has photos of it.
Yes.
The photos actually look so funny because you could see the mortification on my face.
Yes, she was so
But I was
mortified.
such a shy child that I was just like, I hate this.
I know, I know. It was so much fun because it was just impromptu, and it was just, they went out of their way, and it was really cool.
Yeah. No, I do remember that. That was very fun. And I remember too being embarrassed by it as well, just because again, it's like when you're a child, it's like I just didn't want any attention at all. So, but that was very fun when they did do that though. So I'm trying to think of I feel like there are so many Disney memories we have in all of the restaurants because we've been to so many of the restaurants so many times for sure. But I would say, I feel bad. The main memory that keeps popping in my mind is the negative experience at Les Celliers.
Oh God.
Just how terrible it was. We waited, I think, over an hour to sit down at our table.
Over an hour. I think it was an hour and a half we were sitting there.
Yeah, we sat there for a long, I think you're right. It almost was an hour
and a half.
And we had 4 p.m. reservations. I remember my mom was upset because she said, oh, that's so early to eat. We'll have to get a snack before the fireworks, all this stuff. We didn't sit down until 5:30, so we didn't eat until 6. And we're like, well, would you look at that? We're eating at the exact time we wanted to eat.
Yeah, where I wanted my reservations in the first place.
The only problem was that we hadn't eaten all day because we thought we were eating at 4 p.m. So if you go 2 extra hours,
starving.
We were so hungry.
Yes.
But
and the first time we went there, you were young, and I remember.
And it was the same problem.
Oh my God, it was the same deal. You get there and they tell you, okay, have a seat, and then you're sitting there and you're sitting there and you're sitting there, and you go ask them, well, what's going on? And they don't give you any information. They're very nasty. They're not even nice. They're just very obnoxious about it. And I'm like, this is ridiculous. Why do we need to do this?
Well, I feel like they were just a bit dismissive about it, as if there's nothing they could do. So it's just but it is what it is type of thing.
I mean, but it's so funny because, like I said, is it everybody has this? I mean, the people that were with us too were getting really crazy because some people had what were they doing? Some people had reservations.
They were doing the candlelight experience.
That's it. It was Christmas
procession
time, and they had the candlelight procession tickets to get in for the candlelight processional, and they were worried that by the time they ate and by the time they got out of there, they were not going to be. Even the people at the next table from us were asking for their desserts in cups because they had to get out of there to get where they had to go, and that's not right. I mean, these restaurants have been in business for how many years has Disney been open? Les Celliers has been there for that long. You would think by now they got it right.
Well, that's what I'm saying too. They clearly overbook the restaurant and they don't. It's like, so let's say you say it's like, all right, people are going to sit at the table maybe for, let's say, like an hour or 2 hours, or like maybe they're saying people are going to sit at the table for an hour, but then they're sitting at the table for 2 hours. So then you're starting to back up your other reservations, your other dining preferences. Well, that's the problem. Then you need to change how long you're estimating people to sit at these
Whoever's
tables.
running that restaurant should be
because
looking
it's not
at
like
that.
when we're eating, it's taking us hours to get our food.
No.
The food comes out in a regular time span.
No, we had a regular. We sat. I don't think it took us more than an hour.
That's
an hour
what I'm
and a
saying.
half to
So
eat our
it's
dinner.
not like the food is taking a very long time to come out. It's not like we were taking forever to order or anything like that. Like we ordered in the regular pace. So it's like clearly there's something on their organization booking side that is just not right.
And it's not the biggest restaurant. I mean, I have
it
to
is
admit,
one-
it is,
when I looked
it's
it up,
just
it is the
one room.
smallest,
Yes,
yeah.
it is a one-room
But
small
then that's something that
restaurant.
they need to accommodate for and realize that they can't be overbooking this restaurant or, having so many people just wait over an hour,
Right.
hour
Because
and a half
now
to
they've
sit
got
down.
a zillion people waiting for tables. And when we were there, it was raining. So nobody wanted to wait outside because it was raining. Everybody wanted to wait inside. They'll tell you that they'll let you know when your table's ready. But the problem is it was pouring rain at some points. So everybody was coming in and then people were going out and they were coming back in again. There's not many places to sit. So, you're stuck standing or people were sitting on the floor. That's what kind of takes away from Les Celliers.
Yeah, but the food is really good.
Yes, very good.
And that is why we're all waiting in that tiny little lobby to
Yes,
sit
but
down.
see, we do have memories of it.
All right, thanks everyone for listening to this week's episode of the podcast. Make sure you give us a review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or leave a comment down below if you're watching on YouTube. Again, let us know what is your favorite restaurant in Epcot, your table service restaurant. Have you had similar experience at Les Celliers? Are you like, wow, that's never happened to me at Les Celliers. I've always had positive experiences there. I got seated right away when we have not been seated right away. I would love to hear about it. I would love to hear how you would rank these 21 restaurants in Epcot. So amazing that there's so many restaurants. Again, not even including the quick service restaurants. So we're going to do quick service next for sure. And that doesn't even include the carts, like the carts you can get snacks
Oh my
at.
God.
So there are lots of food
I
options
gotta
in
tell
Epcot.
you, you could just walk around and eat and drink in Epcot and not even care about anything
Yeah, there are a
else.
lot of options in Epcot. Again, that's not even including the festival booths. Like,
Right.
think about how much food and drink
That's
you can
why we
really
usually
get
go
in
to Epcot twice. Usually
for
our
sure.
park, and that's Dad's favorite park. So
Yeah.
we usually tend to go to Epcot.
So let us
twice.
know how you would rank these restaurants, which one your favorites. I would love to hear. And until next time, we will see you real soon.
Bye-bye.